This is not a morning like any other. The chimps can feel it. The men are nervous. It is the beginning of a wonderful story, of learning to be free. Today, Cheyenne and Kuiu will leave their island. A dozen of their companions have already made the journey. When they wake up, everything will be new and different. The Conkuati forest, beautiful and unpredictable. A long time ago, their parents were killed by poachers, and Cheyenne and Kuiu were sold at the market. Taken in by the HELP Congo organization, they grew up in semi-captivity with about 30 other orphans out on the islands. One after another, these young chimpanzees have been shown the way back to the forest. The association scientists have given them each a name to identify them. They have attached transmitter collars to be able to track them and study their behavior. This is the tale of a unique experience. A tale of a year with a family of chimpanzees. This is the Conkuati-Douli National Park in the Republic of Congo. Beneath the treetops, the old-timers have no idea that two new arrivals are on their way. The only male here, with his light-colored coat, is Bill, the best nutcracker in the whole forest. He is 9 years old. Jeannette is a dominant female and very curious. Along with her friend, Choupette, she was among the first to win back her freedom. They are 13 years old. Choupette is pregnant and should give birth in just a few days. The father of the baby is presumed to be Mekutu. At the age of 12, he is the oldest male in the group and a crafty monkey. His favorite activity is playing. His partner is Derek. Aged 8, Derek is the youngest male. Derek is greedy, easily frightened, and hates to be alone. The dominant male in the group is Batiko. He's only 11, but he is a real force of nature, sometimes brutal, sometimes merely clumsy. Batiko recognizes the sound of the boat. He signals the arrival of new chimpanzees. This zone of the forest is called the Triangle. It is bordered by the river and so less frequented by other wild animals. For Cheyenne and Kuiu, the two newcomers, a daunting day lies ahead. Of course, they will meet up with old friends after several months apart, but they're heading into an unknown world with strange sounds and smells, and the others will have changed. A new hierarchy will have been implemented, and they will have to adapt. Batiko doesn't like disorder. Sometimes a simple detail can spark things off. Chimps are very irritable creatures. It is calm again, and Cheyenne takes her first steps towards freedom. Trembling with fear, she waits for the others to react. Cheyenne and Kuyu stick together, looking for some kind of familiar reference. Their first surprise is a nice one. Here's Derek. He grew up on the same island as the two young females. The next surprise is less pleasant. Among the veterans, one older female appears not to appreciate the new arrivals. For Cheyenne and Kuyu, it's a delicate moment. Seeking refuge in the trees, they wait for the dominant elder to impose herself. Batiko, the dominant male, watches from afar. But he does not intervene. This is women's business. The newcomers get away with just a few scratches and bites. The operation seems to be over. Batiko can now reassure Cheyenne and Kuyu. Sitting behind Kuyu, Batiko does not see that a final attack is being prepared. Mission accomplished. The hostile female moves away, and she will not return. This is merely the first hurdle for Cheyenne and Kuyu. The whole group will be faced with wild chimpanzees. The threat is very real. The group is still too fragile. The priority now is to find food, without men to help them. In the forest, the hunt for food becomes their main activity. Choupette, the mother-to-be, is familiar with the forest's resources. She now has to eat for two and knows where she can find all the food she needs. She takes full advantage of the larva season. Mekutu spends a lot of time with Choupette. He seems to understand that something is going to happen. The birth is approaching, and rest is vital. Mekutu would like to snooze too, but with Bill around, it is by no means easy. Deprived of sleep and nuts, Mekutu gets Derek's attention. It's playtime. The four males in the group, all adolescents, act their age. Perhaps they are too carefree, but there is no adult to guide them. Derek and Mekutu meet up several times a day for endless chases. Theirs are fighting gestures. The difference lies in the absence of cries. They trade the roles of hunter and hunted, of dominant and submissive, in an entirely unpredictable way. It is an essential activity for the young chimpanzees. Games help them to learn social behavior, and they will later use these same techniques in the realms of competition and aggression. What begins as a game often degenerates. The important thing is to reassure one another. Choupette is pregnant and no longer in heat, so her friend Jeannette now benefits from Mekutu's favors. For young Derek, all this is still a mystery. A little further into the forest, Batiko once more appreciates Choupette's talents. Grooming is a relaxing ritual and an important social activity for the chimpanzees. It's not just about hygiene. It's the gesture that is important, and the attention given to one's companions. The problem for Choupette is that Batiko gets violent whenever she stops without his permission. And in her condition, it is not wise to suffer a damaging blow. Batiko surrenders to sleep, and Choupette takes advantage to steal away discreetly. Once again, cunning overcomes brute force. After this new scare, Choupette escapes alone into the forest. The chimpanzees build a new nest every evening to spend the night. Choupette has spotted a nice big one that looks new. A few little adjustments, and it's ready. It's the beginning of the afternoon. Has the moment to lie low arrived? At the same time, Cheyenne and Kuyu are looking for something to eat. The two newcomers can't bring themselves to eat these strange fruits. There are no bananas, no pineapples or oranges. Just these little forest fruits. Cheyenne observes the others with great curiosity. She finally tastes a noclia, but it will take some time for her to get used to it.
Il lui faudra un peu de temps pour s'y faire.
Mekutu has discovered a nest of weaver ants in a cluster of leaves. It's like a ready-made sandwich, and the chimps love it. It is both an excellent source of protein and a real treat. Batico is still very young and for the moment doesn't seem tempted by expeditions into unknown territory. It's true that on his island there was nothing to explore. Like Bill, he loves nuts, but he is clearly not as dexterous. And yet this doesn't stop him from trying whenever he can. It's now Derek's turn to share a new fruit with Cheyenne, Amaranthus arboreus. But it's not just strange food that surprises the newcomers. This morning, Choupette climbed down from her nest with particular care. There he is, tiny and wrinkled like an old man. Choupette refuses all contact with other chimps. She knows that her baby's life depends on her own prudence. Among chimpanzees, the males can sometimes kill the newborn in order to make the female fertile again. Here's Mekutu, the baby's presumed father. Unbelievable. The reaction is all the more surprising in its exclusivity. Even when her friend Jeannette approaches, Choupette moves away again. The real danger is a confrontation with the great Batico. Jeannette follows at a distance. She too has her tastes in the way of delicacies. Batico draws nearer. Mekutu cries out. Batico strikes, but it's just a threat. He's not interested in the baby at all. All he wants is his usual relaxation session. Once more, Mekutu's protective attitude is somewhat troubling. The crisis is over. From now on, the danger will come from outside. What will happen if Choupette meets wild chimpanzees? The wild chimps live outside the triangle, on the other side of the river. Batico and his group have not yet explored this area. But they often hear screams and cries from the other side, and from the treetops have even seen a few chimpanzees. In fact, the chimps they have seen were also released into the wild by HELP Congo a few years ago. Since then, they have formed a small, well-organized and united tribe, comparable to wild chimpanzee communities. When the dominant male takes over a youngster's training, the result can be brutal. A female often has to intervene to limit the damage. This group is in regular contact with other chimpanzees in the forest. Sometimes one female or another may even spend a few days with the wild males. When these once captive animals begin to mate, their reintegration into forest life will be truly successful. All the chimpanzees like to eat plant stems. But this group has learned to fully exploit this food source whenever fruit is in short supply. Just like wild chimps, they have established a precise hierarchy. And this is especially evident whenever they share an exceptional prize. The dominant male has found a hive filled with honey. It's a feast, and everyone wants a share. The rule is basically finders keepers. He will decide on the distribution. As is often the case, the clan's second male and the dominant female have priority. After several hard years' apprenticeship, this group has become more organized, and they are now better equipped to face the perils of the forest. Batiko and his companions must do likewise in order to survive. 3 months have passed since Cheyenne and Koyu were freed. The rainy season has just begun. Cheyenne appears to have lost little weight, which means that she is eating normally. But she has distanced herself from the group and moves around alone with one other young female. Her gastronomic audacity seems to surprise even her companion. Koyu is also living her own life. The 2 young females have been among the quickest to adapt to the forest. Batiko, however, is far away, and the group is still dispersed. The group is still dispersed. This morning, a boat arrived. Bill has abandoned his nutcracking and joined the others who have come to gather around the cage. The cage remains closed. Sibiti is still under anesthetic, and the other chimpanzees appear concerned. A long vigil begins. Bill and Mikutu will not make a nest today. They will spend the night close to the cage. Vets from HELP Congo came during the night to protect Sibiti from the rain. The cage is now open. Bill and the other chimps have not had much sleep. Sabiti reacts worse than the others to the anesthetic. Coming round is hard, and her behavior is surprising. She doesn't wait to fully recover before braving the world outside the cage. She refuses to greet the others and heads straight off into the forest. Bill decides to follow her and is joined by Mekutu. As the rain falls even harder, Bill gives up his pursuit. Chimpanzees hate the rain. There is only one good reason why Bill should face getting wet. From his shelter, he has seen something that interests him. Choupette's baby has grown and is now a little over 3 months old. For the first time, he ventures out alone on a branch. Derek is drawn by the youngsters' cries. Choupette now lets the other chimps have some contact with him. As the little one now wants to take his first steps, he must begin to exercise. This is a habit among chimpanzees. The stretching sessions become a game. Soon he will be strong enough to climb on his mother's back, which will make outings much more pleasant. He will get around this way until he is 4. During this period, and until he is fully weaned, Choupette will no longer be in heat. Mekutu is therefore entirely available to satisfy Jeannette. Curiously, for the first time in a week, she passes close by and then ignores him completely. He decides to follow her and seems quite irritated when he finds her entangled with Batico. An older, dominant male would probably never accept such interference in his affairs. The dominant animal normally has priority over the females, but here, all the chimpanzees are practically of the same age, which explains the difficulty in establishing a well-defined hierarchy. Two days after her arrival, Sibiti has wandered far from the area frequented by her former companions. She will have to learn the ways of the forest all by herself. If she travels any further in this direction, she will not be able to find the others again. But a female of her age has more chance of being accepted by a group of wild chimpanzees. Sibiti has torn off her transmitter collar. She is now entirely left to her own resources. The next morning, Batico appears to have made a decision. For several weeks now, there has been a real shortage of fruit in the triangle. It is time to explore another part of the forest. Accompanied by Choupette, Jeannette, Mekutu, and Derek, he heads off towards the river. A natural bridge leads to the opposite bank. But the chimpanzees on the other side are not far away. Batico has never had to face other groups, and he is completely unprepared. The group soon finds itself surrounded. Choupette flees. As for the others, this is their first encounter with other chimpanzees. Jeanette, Makutu, and Derek manage to escape, but they are soon scattered across an area they do not know. Derek is the only one to find the bridge. What's happened here is very threatening to Batiku. An imposing male has come after him, and they have disappeared into the forest. If the two end up fighting, Batiku has little chance of surviving. Choupette and Jeanette are together, but danger lies at their feet. Mekutu is not very far away, and he has spotted a shallower passage across the river. The enemy has gone. Jeanette and Choupette are far from the tree trunk. They too must find another way across. On the other bank, Mekutu waits for them. All is well, except for Batiku, who has vanished. A little further upstream, Derek is lost. There are no chimpanzee cries to guide him. Even at this distance, Derek recognizes his playmate. An almost imperceptible cry confirms that it is Mekutu. Out of 5 reckless chimps, 4 are safe and sound. After all this emotion, it's time to find something to eat. Derek has regained his appetite. These ripe salacias are a godsend. The more fruit he stuffs in his mouth, the juicier it gets. Chewing enables him to absorb nutrients without swallowing the undigestible parts. Suddenly, Derek's attention is drawn by something else. He moves away from the group to listen more carefully. It's a familiar sound. It's Bill, who seems unfazed by the lack of ripe fruit. He is not alone. Batico is with him, in fine form and without any visible bite marks. It's the perfect time for a collective grooming session. It's rare to see them all together in this way, and it's not over. Their cries attract even the loners of the group. Here is Cheyenne with her provisions, as well as Kuyu. It seems that this misadventure has had an effect on the group. To survive, the young chimpanzees will have to establish a stronger hierarchy and explore new territory. In the meantime, life returns to normal. Jeanette now has the right to touch Choupette's baby, under close surveillance. Derek and Makutu work on their choreography. In the Conkuati forest, Batico and his companions are learning to live with their freedom.
Join us next week for the remarkable story of a travelling sand dune. And tonight, mix the wildly creative Meccano models with the subtle needle and thread work of quilts. Then throw in some timeless jazz from Count Basie, and what you have, this week's episode of Collectors. See it tonight at 8 on ABC.